Hi, and welcome to AltTabMe.com, the community that outlasts release dates, Wildstar podcasts. In these podcasts, we talk about
Anything
Anything,
and everything.
everything.
cheesy but awesome, yeah, that we think is exciting about Wildstar, and we want to bring it to you guys. There's a little bit of a catch. We only go for 30 minutes. Once that 30 minutes is up, no matter what we're talking about, we stop the podcast. The idea here is that we want the community to get involved with our podcast. You can go to alttabme.com. You can post on our forums. You can get involved in the threads. Tell us what you want to talk about next week. Tell us what you want to talk about this week. You can also go to AltTabMe at Twitter. So just hashtag AltTabMe, and you can ask us questions for our next podcast. So hopefully it'll get you guys involved, and we can get some of your questions going as we continue on with our podcast on the coverage of Wildstar. Anyway, this week we are going to be talking about the hype train.
Choo choo.
And the clock starts now. So what is the hype train, you might be asking? Well, I mean, it's pretty simple, I think. The hype train is basically what we're doing right now. We are talking about a game that hasn't released yet. And we sound super stoked most of the time. And I think we wanted to kind of bring some perspective about how, especially as a community, how do we handle the hype of a game that isn't out? Like, what do you do while you wait for that game, and then what happens when that game either succeeds or fails? So, anybody want to kick that off, what they're thinking?
Yeah.
I-
Well,
I explode.
in the past, we followed the Guild Wars 2 hype train pretty hard, and just like Tristan mentioned before, succeed or fail, we feel the effects of it afterwards. Like we watched the hype train for Guild Wars 2 last about 6 months. 6 months prior, we followed that hype train till pretty much the day it died, and that died about 2 months after launch. We spent more time hyped than we did enjoying the game, which is not good. And this is what we're hoping right now. We're spending a lot of time on Wildstar hype. We're really hoping the game outlasts that hype, and that's what we need.
I think something that's also important is that even though a lot of our podcasts, you hear us talking about what we are looking forward to and what we like about the game and what we think is really awesome. At the same time, I think it's very important that, and especially on our forums and stuff like that, we're very objective. If we see something that sets us off, we're not going to sit there and be like, oh well, it doesn't matter because this game's going to be awesome. We're going to look at that. We're going to go, is this something that might break the game? And should we be maybe bringing forward our thoughts on that? I think Mike actually has some good stuff on that.
Yeah, we're actually looking harder at the stuff that might break the game for us this time around, because Guild Wars 2 was a great game, and like Bruce said, we were really hyped for it, but there wasn't anything that broke the game on that for us. It was just, it didn't have what we needed to sustain on it. And so we're definitely looking at some of the stuff and saying, ooh, I'm not sure that this is going to be what we want, or, we're a lot more jaded while we're looking at it. And then on top of that, at least for me, I'm getting really excited for it in spite of that. So I'm getting a little bit of apprehension and worry that it won't live up to the hype that we're seeing and the stuff that we're really excited about. We're like, oh, well, maybe this is the best it looks, like the action movie that shows you all the action scenes in the trailer. You get to the movie, you're like, oh, come on, there's nothing else?
Yeah. Well, I think
Yeah.
something super important to remember is that even though we're hyped and we're looking forward to the game, it's a good idea not to get 100% wrapped up in that one game. There's a ton of games that are out there that we still play. Like there's Battlefield 3. I mean, it's not an MMO. There's still Guild Wars 2 if you want to log in. There's WoW if you really want to go there. There's Diablo. There's a ton of games out there that you can still play. You can have fun with your friends. And I think now is a time where people should be looking not necessarily at Wildstar as the, oh my god, I need to play it, but as Wildstar is our connecting commonality. And so now's the time to build your guilds, now's the time to build your communities, and now's the time to really get to know one another, because you have a lot of time. So you don't have to do an application where you just accept everyone because you're like, well, fuck, I need 100 people because we need to raid and we need to do this and we need to do that. You can take your time, you can get to know one another, you can see if this is a good fit. And this wasn't supposed to turn into like a plug for our community, but I mean that's some of the stuff that we do. We make sure that there is, we have an application process that's very stringent, and we tell people don't apply until you look around for yourself. Make sure that you're happy, because we don't want you to, once the game comes out, realize that, oh well, I just wanted to play the game. I actually didn't want to have anything to do with the community. So because then, for us it's like the community is the game. You know what I mean?
And for us right now, we're doing a lot of different activities outside of MMOs, not only to not to attract players or anything like that, but to get to know our community. Right now, we're hosting a lot of Saturday free-to-play events. We're playing a bunch of different games like Blacklight Retribution. We hopped into Rift to play with each other for a little bit to get a little bit of a taste of an MMO. Some people are playing Terra together for shits and giggles. Smite, League of Legends. We're all playing these different games to, one, not burn us out on all the Wildstar information that we're intaking, but two, play with people that we actually want to play with, and hopefully we can bring that feeling of playing together into Wildstar. So we're starting not from. Oh, yeah.
I'm just gonna cut through you and just reel that back in, because we just went way, way, way off topic.
All right.
Like that's like, yeah, let's plug the site and the community and stuff.
Oh.
But
I thought that was my
train.
control of my hype.
You got off the hype train,
That's
man.
true. No, so how do you moderate your intake of all the information? I mean, you have Carbine, who's releasing, Wildstar Wednesdays. They're releasing like Vine videos, Twitter messages, and all these little bits of information that make you like chomp at the bit. But I think what a lot of people don't realize is that unless you're really like dug into the gaming community or the gaming in general, you're not gonna. The majority of players and people don't actually see that stuff. So how do you regulate when you're so dug in all that information that's coming your way, even though it's just little bits and snippets here and there, versus like the general population, which will not know about this game until maybe release or word of mouth, or they start running some commercials?
Well, I think a big part of it is if you're the one that's really dug in, you want to be kind of regulating how many sites you go to, how much information you're taking in. So like, don't go to every single little snippet that you see. Only go to maybe the Wildstar Wednesday stuff, or a few of the more, I guess you would say, respected or close to the source places, and don't be going to all the places that are second and third hand. This guy saw this, who read this, and talk to this guy, and this is what he speculates. Don't jump on that so much.
Which brings us up to the idea of, do you think that the NDAs that are put in place for games like this, where they're allowing people into closed betas, are they good, or do you think that they hurt the actual information that comes out there? Do you feel like leaked information is worse than Carbine releasing information themselves, or do you think that an NDA is in place for a reason, and there's a good, and it's good that like video games are acting like the CIA?
I think NDA is important for the sense that you get a lot of people who just go, oh, this is crap, oh, I hate this, and like people don't get in their heads that beta is beta. Like there's a lot of iteration, there's a lot of tweaking, there's a lot of fixes that go into beta that you don't see behind the wall of that NDA. It's like the Wizard of Oz. You don't ever see the man behind the curtain. The curtain is the NDA. You see the big shiny flashy thing. That's really cool. That's the final product. You never see the guy with the levers going like making the whole thing work.
Well,
So I like them. I think they're good. I don't think they're super effective, because you're always going to have, as soon as the public gets their hands on it, there's going to be somebody in there that leaks the stuff, and the people that really want to find it can. But the reason I think they're good is that you're going to get a vocal minority on the internet. And if all they're doing is reading or getting secondhand knowledge, they're going to be complaining about something that might be one instance that they saw for 5 seconds in a video, or that somebody talked about, and without the hands-on, they can't give accurate feedback. But it might blow up, and it might be something that everybody latches onto, and it may get changed off of that. So I like that the NDA is there. And I hope that because of that, the company that runs the game, Carbine in this instance, will give a lot more weight to the people that have their hands on versus somebody who might have extrapolated what they might or might not be doing from second or third hand information that someone broke the NDA and put out there.
Well, plus
But
we've been seeing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
well, one of the things that I kind of don't like, well, one of the reasons why I kind of like some people breaking the NDA, I wouldn't do it because I'm one of those goody two-shoe kind of people, but I kind of like that feeling of being dirty, reading something that you're not supposed to be reading. You know,
What do you got,
like
your
without
dad's
the NDA.
playhouse?
Yeah, well, it's like exactly. But it's like when the NDA is in place, you read what Carbine says, and then you come across some information like, "Hey, yeah, come into this back alley. I got some
Where
stuff."
are you
that
getting
that-
information from?
well, some places on the internet, and then you just kind of come across, maybe put in a credit card number, but anyways, it's I don't know, but it's like you get these little tidbits that's like, okay, that's kind of cool. I wonder if that's really true. And then, 2 months down the line, they announced that was true. And it's like, oh, I knew it 2 months ago. I feel I was first. I knew that long before anyone. It's just like I kind of like that feeling of knowing things before other people.
The only thing that bothers me about leaked information, other than the fact that I've been on the end of like the people that were trying to keep the leak out, and the anger that you get, like the animosity you get towards the person that leaks it, is like it's hard to describe, because when you're so busy working on something and then someone just like throws shit to the caution to the wind and ruins everything you're trying to surprise. But what really gets me about it is that a lot of people will look at leaked information and they will go, well, that sucks. Well, that's not good. And then you have Carbine, who released closed beta patch notes for 1, 2, and 3, or just 2 and 3. I don't remember.
I think they got the first patch notes got leaked, and then they put them out officially.
Okay.
And now we've had 2 and 3 since.
So they've been, it's a really good idea on their end, because when you have releases of your patch notes, what it is showing is that there is a serious iteration process in all of these games. And I think people don't understand that. I even know that people, when they get into closed betas, they get into the beta, and because of this standard that's been set in gaming, which really pisses me off, where beta equals hype. I want to fucking shoot developers that do that. It's really stupid. It's not good because your game doesn't get tested. SimCity. Right?
So glad I didn't jump on that one.
Yes.
Hey, we're gonna release our game with a beta so that we can test the servers. You mean we could build up hype and then our servers all fucking fail and the game crashes and burns, and then they try to sell you downloadable content like fucking 10 months later. Anyway, sorry, I'm really bitter about that game. That one really burned my ass, man. It really did. But I give the developers credit for working on that game, because we had an interview with the Maxis guys and they were great people. But and they really put a lot of work into that game. But I really just feel like they got fucked because of the process. And the franchise got fucked too, because SimCity had such a beautiful thing to it. Sorry, and I'm totally off topic. No, but what I'm going off of is that there's so many things that get leaked. So anyway, so you have the beta patch notes that they're releasing, and if you look at them closely, you may not know everything that's going on because you're not in the beta. But if you look at them, you can see things are getting tweaked here, you're getting tweaked there, and then maybe so now we have 3. So in number 1, maybe it got tweaked here. And then in number 3, it got tweaked back. And so they're going and they're testing, and the beta testers are in there to test shit. They're not there to enjoy the game. Don't get me wrong. Like if I was in the beta, I'd be like, woo, yeah, like having a blast. But the reason that these things are there is so that people can get in there and they can start to find bugs. They can start to find things that don't feel right, that aren't balanced. Look and feel of a game is so fucking important. Go read the ArcAge article that we released. Look and feel is so fucking important.
Well, it's
So-
like, I don't think people
Carbine-
realize that a beta is actually a job for you. Like, you're not there to, not there on happy-go-lucky time. Like if you're playing the beta and you're just playing it to play it, you're kind of only doing half the job. You really should, you see a glitch, report it, let them know that there's a glitch. You go through a wall, take a screenshot, say, or email it them. I don't know what their full system is. Report it, and there's a job there, and they go in, and hopefully from phase to phase to phase, they're fixing all these different problems. And then, of course, more problems will arise. But still, that's just the world of MMOs.
Yeah. So back to the hype train. How do you, how do you like? I've noticed that when you're building up for a game, people have a tendency to theory crafting. Oh God, I hate all of you.
Yeah.
How are we all friends? How are we friends? No, but seriously, like the worst thing you can do for a game is theory craft upon theory crafting, because you're theory crafting the idea of theory crafting the idea of playing a game. What?
Is this Inception all of a sudden?
Right? A dream is inside a dream inside a beta.
Well, it's the downfall of getting any information. You want to try to extrapolate out to figure out where they're going with it, so you can be like, ooh, when I get started, I'm going to go and I'm going to do this and I'm going to try that. So it's like giving a starving man a sandwich. He's gonna try to eat all of it at once and remember it and dream about it for days, and you can't really. To me, that's one of those things that I just ignore right now. And I like the theory craft side of it. I just, in beta, and especially if I'm not in the game, I'm going to ignore all of it, because unless I can go and test it out and look at it myself personally, I can just not. I can ignore it. It's not that hard for me to ignore.
It's so boring, though.
I think there's a lot of times that you get it causes drama though between people, because you have all these people waiting for this game that hasn't released, and they have nothing else to talk about, and they start to get pissed when Carbine releases. They released a Wildstar Wednesday about the development process and them working on weekends, and people were like, "Fuck you! Why didn't you release the new
Game
classes or the exiles or whatever the thing is or this blah blah blah?" And to be honest, at first I read it and I was like, "Oh, that was." I mean, I know this stuff, okay, and I was like, that kind of sucked. But then I thought about it and I'm like, you gotta give them some fucking credit. They're doing so much, and they want to release stuff when it's ready. And to be honest, I really do believe in that, when it's ready for an MMO, because MMOs are so evolving and so they're so diverse that you really need that time. And so the fact that they're releasing anything, people should be like, thank you, I appreciate that. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have a release date yet, so.
Yeah, I really liked. I mean, a lot of people pan them for that. The thing about, like, oh, here's how we do our, like, they talk about like the jam, where they get everybody to make a thing, and then they see what works and see what doesn't work. And I thought, like, that's a really cool insight into basically how they've made this game. I mean, they've talked about it in interviews and time again about how everybody's on board with the theme and the sort of the stylistic choices they're making in this game. Because, I mean, they're making deliberate creative choices about the look and the attitude. I mean, you guys talked about it in the Atmosphere, the Atmosphere podcast about the themes and the attitudes and just the look and feel of the game. So they're making those choices actively all the time, and by giving them the opportunity to go, hey, just go in there and just make something, just go and create something, and it gives them more room for, like, man, that works really well, or we could tweak that and that could work better, and it gives them, and then to tell that to the public of, like, some of the things you may see in the game have come from this philosophy that we have around creativity, and that's a really cool thing to tell the community.
Yeah,
and I don't think people realize that.
Developers need a space to breathe.
Mm-hmm.
These days, there's gamers are getting like really ravenous because they're looking for something to take up their time and they're looking for something that doesn't burn them. And so they're getting really ravenous on the idea of, oh my god, a new game, oh my god, I need to like fucking everything on this thing. I like everything. So the problem is that developers really do need a little bit of space to breathe, because if you're constantly hammering and braiding and shit, they're not going to want to release the information, because they know that regardless of what information they release, you're going to be like, I want more. Give me more. Oh my god, it's not enough. Please, may I have some more?
I said it when there was a discussion on the forums about that Wildstar Wednesday, and people were bitching on Reddit and bitching on Wildstar Central that, oh, they didn't give us anything new. They just rehashed all the stuff that they've done this past 2 weeks. Well, all the stuff that they had done that past 2 weeks was new. They're just consolidating it for you. And my attitude was, shut the hell up, you big crybabies. They're not obligated to give you anything. As an MMO in alpha and beta, they've given us more than almost any other one that I've ever seen already. And we're expecting a September, October release date. And
later.
I think later.
Well, even then. So there's so much time in between now and then that I'm sure that those guys at Carbine feel that they're kind of set a standard of how much they want to release on a weekly basis to the public. That they don't have to release anything, and people are crying that, oh, they slowed down for a week.
Yeah,
they
definitely have a schedule. They definitely, they probably have the next month's Wildstar Wednesdays already lined up and ready to go, and they'll probably tweak it depending on what's going on within their atmosphere. They're not adjusting their timeline for us. They just like anything else that's been in development lately, it's ready when it's ready, and we have to remember that. We always have to remember that.
There's times where I've worked on cinematics when I was at Blizzard, and it's like you work on something and machinima is a really cool art form because you have the ability to release very quickly, and so that's kind of what their dev speaks are. Is they're very machinima-esque because they're doing all in-game footage, right? They're not really using CGI animation for it. The dev speaks, not the other ones. And I've noticed a lot of people being like, release another dev speak, goddammit! Now, here's some of the issues that you might not know. I don't know. Maybe this will help you. I can share some insight for you. When you're making a video like this, A, you have a timetable. So, obviously, they have a deadline for it. B, you need to wait for the art assets to be ready, because you can't film anything for final until the art assets are ready. And most of the time, you'll finish this video, and all of a sudden the art team comes to you and they go, but we just upgraded that, and you have to scrap the whole video because unless you have like flight pass or repeatable like you can record or something, then you're screwed. So you have to go and record the whole thing from scratch. So a lot of the times, these dev speaks that people want, and I want more too, because they're really cool. They're fun. They're upbeat. They're really a lot of information. They're fun to analyze, especially with all the little things they throw in there. You have to understand that those, while we think they're easy looking at them, they're not. They're not easy, and there's a lot of effort that goes into it, and there's a lot of things that you take it out of the editor's hand or the director's hand, and you still have more things like the art team and the design team, and oh, well, we just removed that feature. Fuck, it's like the thing we featured in the video. You know what I mean?
Doesn't it take an hour for 10 seconds of video or something like that?
That's like the industry standard.
Yeah,
an hour per 10 seconds. That's what you can expect.
Just think about that. When we start all of a sudden get a dev speak for 4 minutes, 5 minutes long, you're looking at 240 seconds. So you're looking at 24 hours of solid, continuous work. And then if you have any changes in that,
hold on. Solid, continuous footage. That's not the work that's involved. That's the recording part. Okay.
So okay. So that's even more. I thought it was literally 1 hour of work for. Oh, then there you go. You're looking at a 4-minute video. All of a sudden, you're looking at what?
I'm guessing like a 2-week turnaround to 3-week turnaround from film to edit. That's not including prep, scripts, and recording.
Think about that. That's a lot of time and effort. That's a lot of money out of their hands to give us a frick ton of information in a really cool way.
Which isn't making the game progress.
Right.
This is advertisement, mind you. So it's not. They're not developing. They're advertising. So they need to
they have a team for that too, though. I mean, that's part of their team to do
Right,
that.
of course,
So
but a
it's not like
smaller
they're taking developers to.
but
do
they
it.
are a smaller team. They're not like a Blizzard, behemoth who has 5 billion cinematics guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, oh no, I know, but it's just like, just that extra perspective out there. For all this hype that they're giving us, they have to take the time to do it. It's not a quick little, let's throw them a video this week, there you go. It's a lot. It really is.
But this is and it comes back to one of the talking points about companies trying to control the hype train. You want to make sure that the train doesn't go off the rails, and I think this is a very deliberate business choice by Carbine to say we need to be in control of where this information comes from and the quality with which it is presented. And those dev speaks and the Wildstar Wednesdays and the little things they throw in on Twitter, even those Vine videos, even though they look really, even though that sort of stuff seems really sort of off the cuff and improvised, all of that stuff is planned. It has to be planned.
I think the Vine stuff is pretty. Those are what 10-second little.
But even those things probably have to go through marketing and PR and all that stuff.
Yeah, they do. Ugh.
All that stuff has to get approved all the way through the chain. So all of those things that they're doing, all those things that they're giving us, they're all part of that plan to try and keep that train as on the rails as possible. So that they can direct what stops it goes to, but also so that it doesn't just go careening off into a mountainside.
What a metaphor.
Well, no, it's good because if you look at the traffic in SimCity, it was all fucked up in the beginning. So, just saying. Sorry, did I mention my ass is burned from that? Sorry.
But that's also why they've been releasing the beta notes, beta patch notes themselves, because they would rather have it come from an actual source at Carbine than, like I said, third person who knows what they're actually putting down.
Yeah.
And then they'll catch crap about it.
Because there's nothing stopping me from going, oh, yeah, CBT3 patch notes, blah 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 blah, and just making up a whole lot of shit that I just pulled out of my ass, and posting that, and then suddenly that goes viral, and I'm just like, oh my god, oh look at what they've done, oh they've ruined the game, and it's just me trolling the internet.
Hey guys, did you know that flying mounts are available at level 1?
All I've ever said about any beta or any game that isn't released is hold off judgment, even though there's lots of information that they're giving you, but hold off your judgment because ultimately you have to be happy playing this game. Nobody else is going to tell you that you're happy playing a game. You have to be happy, and for some reason gamers think that in order for them to be happy, every single person in their social circle has to be happy too. Not true, okay? Think about it like that. Be selfish. And then once you get your hands on the game, see how you like it, and then look at the patch notes again and be like, oh, that makes sense now, or oh, I think maybe I should give some feedback here, and then there's another thing on betas is that I notice a lot of times, especially in the Guild Wars 2 beta, other than there's really nice people in betas, because everybody's a common goal and they're happy to just be in it. But there's this sense of people when the beta, like, if it doesn't run for like a full week or something, people at the end of a beta go, what the fuck, man? I need my fix. And it's like, dude, it's good that the game just stopped because A, you get to step away and not get burned out before the game actually gets released and all your friends get it. B, you can now go to the forums or whatever they have set up and give them feedback.
Phase 3.
So that's super important.
And it usually means they're fixing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they've said in their interviews
Disconnected from server.
like, I remember there was an interview where one of the guys was asking about stuff in CBT3, and the guy who was talking to was like a lead designer, basically went, man, I don't even remember because we're already working on CBT4. Like, we're already doing stuff.
Yeah.
Like we're 1 and 2 iterations ahead of what the beta guys are currently testing. So
and it'll always be that way.
So it means that they're working so hard on staying ahead of that curve that there's things that people will complain about in CBT3 that maybe won't be fixed until 5. Or maybe they're already working on stuff because it already wasn't working, and they're so and that's the thing goes back to they keep iterating and they keep changing things, and the fact that we've seen 3 sets of patch notes in what 6 weeks,
A little bit longer than that. It's been a little over 2 months since the first one, I think.
you know.
I don't
Since
know.
the
yeah.
honestly.
It's been about once a month, I think, that they've had them released.
I've seen release games have less patch notes than that.
Yeah.
You know, and it just means that they're in there and they're doing things and they're changing things.
So how
And
do
I think
you
it's-
so how do you ultimately, we're wrapping up here. We have about a minute left.
Jesus.
Ultimately, like, what would you say like the hype train is coming, you're on the hype train, how do you not completely derail like our podcast
All right.
and just burn up?
Everything in moderation. Always take everything with a grain of salt. Everything's going to be changing from here on forward until launch. Don't get in over your head. Take everything bite size. If you burn yourself out now, you're gonna suck at release. Yeah.
That's terrible.
Well,
You're gonna suck.
you're gonna be burnt out.
Yeah, but just enjoy. I think the
Yeah.
main thing is these are games. You need to remember that. Have fun with it. Like, that's what we try to do. We try to have fun with it.
Oh, be civil.
And be civil. Be nice to one
Yes.
another.
Yes.
I can't stress that more when people just go at each other because, oh, well, you're on the hype train, or if
Yeah.
somebody has a different opinion than you, or something that is contradictory to the popular opinion. Listen to it. It's important right now. Feedback is important. Don't sign up for the help group, man. You don't need it yet. Anyway,
curb your inner raging fanboy and just enjoy the ride.
that's it. 30 minutes done. But hey. Thanks, guys, for tuning in. This has been a AltTabMe podcast, the community that Outlast release dates for Wildstar. Oh, by the way, if you notice, I have something different on my face. I don't have a giant pink thing, although that could work, you know. But anyway, Mod Mike was happy to send this over. You should check it out if you like the sound quality, what you're hearing. They make their own custom boom mics, and these things attach to any high-def audio headphones that you might have. So if you don't have an attached microphone, it runs for like $20 to $30, depending on what version. I'm using 3.0 right now. I think it's really great. It makes it a lot better than having that big thing in my face, and I think the quality is very similar. Wow. Okay. Anyway.
You just said that.
Sorry.
Anyway, if we didn't talk about something and you want to hear us talk about something, or you want to continue the thing, remember you can tweet us at AltTabMe, or ask us any questions or things you want to hear about in further podcasts, or you can go ahead and go to AltTabMe.com and participate on the forums. But with that, we will see you guys next time.
Big thing.